The scenery outside reminds me of my pride, reminds me of my will. At the windowsill, I sit and see the grays. The children, they all play and laugh amongst themselves. Somehow remind me of myself on the merry-go-round.
What is going on YouTube? It is Trev. Some stuff off the top of my head. I've got some basic ideas of what I want to chat with you about and some things I want to show you, but not scripted. So hopefully it all comes out right. Anyway, I want to talk to my Terra Classic community, LUNC community, and really, I mean, what I'm going to chat about here kind of is good for anybody in crypto, anybody in stock, maybe even anybody in life. I want to talk about influence. And there are many who call YouTubers or even people with a ton of Twitter followers, people who do these Twitter spaces and host them, or that are on different platforms, social media platforms. They call them influencers if they have a lot of followers, people who tune in basically to hear what their opinion is or to see what the latest product is that they're using or whatever, right? And I'm not a psychologist, so I don't understand what it is about people that we tend to get so lazy that we don't even want to think for ourselves anymore. It's just a lot easier to tune into, again, your favorite YouTuber. I'm on YouTube, so I'll just use that as an example. Tune into your favorite YouTuber, and whatever they say is gospel, Once they give their opinion on something, that's the way it is. You don't really think about it anymore after that. You don't do any research. You don't, and what anybody else has to say about it, they're all wrong, because your favorite guy or your favorite gal already told you how you feel. Does that even sound right? Does that sound like that's the way it's supposed to be? Would you advise any of your family or friends or kids to live their life that way? To not make up their own minds, to not do their own research and figure things out for themselves? Would you advise them to, just listen to somebody on the internet and that's the way it is? I don't think any of us would do that, but it's what we do all the time. So the word influencer, or the title influencer, I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. Not for what I do. If somebody else wants to consider themselves an influencer, and many do, that's fine, right? There are people who make their living as an influencer. And so the more followers that they can get, the more influence they hold over those people, the more other people, companies, and products are willing to pay them to talk about, their stuff, and that's how they make their money, right? Again, nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with being in business and being in business to make money. But I don't like the word influencer. It's not what I started this channel to be, right? I didn't start this channel so that I could get everybody to think my way or to adopt my philosophies, right? I do appreciate that people might want to tune in and hear my perspective and incorporate it into your thought process and into your DD process to come up with your own conclusions, right? Because any of us that have an opinion on something, where do we get that opinion from? Well, we took in some input, right? Whether it was listening to other people talk about it, friends, family, people on TV, whatever, right? Celebrities, read a book, listened to a podcast, whatever it is. We take in input from the outside and we jumble it around in our brain, and hopefully what comes out the other end is our own genuine feelings on it. And that's the way it's supposed to be. So I'm happy to be a part of that process, right? But nothing that I say is or should be the end all be all of your decision making or how you feel about a subject, right? Um, Maybe a lot of YouTubers or influencers wouldn't tell you that because they want to hold sway. By holding sway over you and the multitudes, they keep their channel going and they make money. And again, I'm not criticizing it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But as the end consumer or as the subscriber, as the follower, um, I would like to push everybody to not just listen to what anybody on the internet is telling you. Okay. Um, why am I ranting about that this morning? Well, uh, I came across this guy, and I was listening to him in a Twitter space, and I hadn't previously heard of him, although he's probably, I don't even know how long he's been a YouTuber. Um, Maybe longer than me, maybe shorter than me. Either way, he's doing really well. And I'm very happy for him, and I'm very happy that this guy's doing well, but he should be doing considerably better than he is, in my opinion. The reason I say that is because this young man speaks his mind, right? He doesn't appear to be swayed by um, friendship or relationships or factions or teams or anything else that is going on right now within the Terra Classic community. He kind of takes in what he sees and he gives his opinion about it, and he's not afraid to give his opinion about it. Okay, and I'm gonna show him to you in a second. But as well, but before I get I'm gonna show him to you now actually, and then we'll talk a little bit about him. So give me a second. Let me make sure I'm on the right thing here, and I believe I am. So if I go to this, you should be right now, hopefully, if this worked right, you should be looking at Twitter, and I'm looking at ASOBs, ASOBS. This young man is very, very impressive to me because, like I just said, he speaks his mind, and it's not just a matter of me agreeing with anything he has to say. Although I do find myself agreeing with a lot of what he says, I don't think I agree with 100% of what he says, and I don't think that as human beings that will ever happen. We all have our own experiences, our life experiences and perspectives, that there's no way we're all always going to agree on stuff, right? So some of the things that I've seen from him, I don't agree with 100%, but it's not about that. It's what I like about him is that he is not afraid to put his opinion out there and stand by it. And he does that for the community so that the community, while you're taking in this input that I talked about, you can have access to a somewhat unbiased source, right? Which is, if you follow me, you know what I really try to do and provide with this channel. So to find another YouTuber out there who seems to have the same mindset is very refreshing. So there's been some drama going on lately within LUNC, within the Terra Classic community. And it's, warring amongst the factions, which has gone down this downward spiral of some really nasty stuff. It's escalated so fast. It's gone beyond, well, I don't agree with your opinion. Your opinion is stupid. It's gone beyond that to trying to bring people down, right? To cancel them, to dox them if maybe they're not doxed, which we've seen already in the past can potentially put people in danger, right? It's just really gone ugly, okay? And so on December 10th, ASOB tweeted this. It says, I can confirm that Rex Terra Rebel's full name was doxed by TCV, and that's Terra Vita, or Terra C Vita. I saw the original tweet in full. And he has some things blanked out here, but I'm, at this point, I'm not going to get too into it because chances are you've already heard about it anyway, right? There were some people who are members of terror rebels who were, maintaining their anonymity for their own personal reasons, which I absolutely support. But someone from another group, kind of a warring faction, decided that they were going to put their names out there. And it wasn't, if you look at it in the way it's formatted, it's kind of hard to come to the conclusion that it was innocent or that it was just kind of a mistake or a mishap. It seems very, very intentional. And I'm not trying to get in anybody's head or determine or push to you what I think anybody's intentions are. I'm just saying the way it feels to me, right? So, and the way it feels to a lot of people. So, the lone community needs to stand up against this bad actor behavior. This is unacceptable from anyone in LUNC. Extremely low blow from Terra C Vita. Now, the reason that I'm talking to you about this now is that I reached out to Rexy, right? The creator of Terra C Vita, who actually is the one who tweeted this out, I'm assuming, right? And I wanted to let him know my feelings about it before I spoke to anyone else about it, because I've had a relationship with Rexy. We a working relationship. We talk often, very often disagree on things, but it's always cordial. It's always, this is my perspective, this is your perspective. Okay, I respect that, even though I don't agree with it. And then we joke around about things, right? That's the relationship we've had, and that's the relationship I try to maintain with everybody. I don't have to agree with you on everything to like you, right? And I hope that that's the same situation coming back. So I wanted to reach out to Rexy, and I did. And I'm not going to get into the conversation as far as his side of it, because that's his story to tell. But I want to tell you that I expressed my unhappiness with this course of action, and that I thought it was crossing the line, right? So once I reached out to him, now I feel like I'm free to just kind of chat about it a little bit more. And so if you go up one more, Aesop's kind of called out to the rest of his fellow YouTubers or, influencers, as he puts it here. And he says, let me scroll up a little bit more. He says, I hope the LUNC influencers stand up to this behavior, regardless of how you feel about the people in question. If you want your privacy protected, you need to stand up for the privacy of others. LUNC stands united against this. Well, I mean, you can't really talk for all of LUNC, although I wish you were talking for all of LUNC, because I happen to agree that we should stand up against how nasty things are getting. It's not necessary. It's tough to even really talk about what's going on. I feel like, and I don't watch everybody's videos, but I feel like I was one of the first ones who kind of noticed the fracturing within Terror Rebels and called it out and said that there were factions that were forming. And I caught hell from, several of the Terror Rebels that I would put out that kind of information, and, I'm making it seem worse than it is, and it's just not accurate, blah, 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 blah. But I saw it coming from a mile away. And I never saw it coming to the degree that it's at now, where it's really degraded this badly. And so Aesop's called upon his fellow influencers, and I'm just using the word he used. I already told you I don't really necessarily like that word. Matter of fact, one term that I had heard one time from someone was KOL, key opinion leader. And where I don't necessarily think that's the 100% best term, I think it's better, or I feel better about it anyway, than influencer, because I don't mind putting my opinion out there. And if after you've listened to my opinion and everyone else's, you agree with me, then cool, right? But if you don't agree with me, that's cool too, right? But I like that term better, key opinion leader, right? Because that's all I really do on my channel, and I think that's all any of us do on our channels is offer our opinions. But anyway, Aesop called out for us all to kind of stand against this. And I have not noticed very many influencers, right, who are generally very vocal on a lot of things, even touching this, right? And I feel like, and I don't know, again, I'm not in anybody's head, right? But I feel like there's the kind of thing where it's like, well, things are so fluid. Things change from day to day, sometimes hour to hour, as far as information that comes out, that no one wants to be caught backing the wrong horse. So let's say you came out and did what Aesop said, even if you really genuinely feel this was wrong, if you come out and say that, right? And then some information comes out about terror rebels that kind of shines them in a bad light, and you came out kind of sticking up for them in favor of them. Now you made a mistake and you were wrong, and what are your supporters or what are your followers going to think about that, you know, and are people going to follow you? There's so much worrying about that. And I want to remind everybody that's watching this who has a YouTube channel or is on YouTube, Twitter or whatever your deal is, right? I want to remind everybody that the disclaimer that we all give all the time is this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, right? Because that should be the truth. But I think even though some people say it, they really hope that they are influencing how you think about things, right? Secretly inside, you know, right? I believe that. And I think that shows with, like I said, with the fact that not very many people besides Aesop's came out right out the rip and came out hard either for or against this. A few have made comments on Twitter and made their voices known. I'm not going to say nobody did, but a lot of people didn't. A lot of the bigger people who I would have expected to kind of didn't really say much about it, right? But if you give that disclaimer and that is really true, then you should really have absolutely no problem at all speaking on your opinion. Speaking on your opinion, even if it's early on. This whole thing of waiting to see which way the wind blows and waiting to see, you know, what else might come out or how the community is going to react to it before you come out and say, oh yeah, that's the way I felt all along, right? That's a bunch of crap, right? You don't need to do that, because if you give your opinion, you're a human being, right? We are all human beings, and that's all we're doing is offering our opinions. And I've offered my opinion on things, and then some other information came out that made me go, didn't really take that into account, didn't really know about that, didn't realize that or understand that or whatever. And it may have made me think differently about something that I just spoke on. That's human. That's the human experience. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And if you're not a financial advisor and you're not giving financial advice, there's nothing wrong with maybe, changing your mind about something and letting your community know that. Because when we're talking about transparency and we're talking about being real, that's what you should do. That's the way it should be, right? Not waiting to see what everybody else thinks and what way the community wants you to go so that you're not saying the wrong thing. Stop it, right? Get over yourself. Just give your opinion. This is what people want to hear. And if your opinion changes, then they want to hear that too, right? Aesop's going on with, just going through his stuff. I mean, he has really come out against this, and he's come up against some people who have given him the opposite idea about it, and he's holding his ground, and he's saying what he wants to say about it. And then I believe it was this morning. Let me see. This is his website, his YouTube channel, right? And I suggest that if you are not subscribed to this guy, ASOBS, subscribe to him. If you are not a person, if you're a person who's looking for confirmation bias, who just wants to hear what you already whatever your preconceived notion already is. If that's what you want to hear, then I'm not for you. ASOBs might not be for you, right? But if you really want to hear someone's genuine opinion from someone who's paying attention and someone who's not afraid to jump in and do their own DD, right? I recommend highly subscribing to this guy and listening to what he has to say, taking his opinion into account. Now, he did more DD than probably any of the rest of us. And where some of these people were accused of, being part of a previous rug pull, and because they might have had a similar name or whatever, this guy went in and got pictures and realized that the person that they were accusing of this had some sort of tattoos, and the guy that they're trying to blame it on now doesn't have any tattoos. I mean, it was real. There's so much more to it, right? And he jumped in and wanted to get all that information for everybody, and that's kind of what he did. So, and he had people on taking off their shirts and showing they don't have tattoos or whatever, right? I love it. I love that kind of involvement, right? That kind of dedication to the community. So he put out this this video this morning, and it's This Threat Will End Terra Luna Classic. And he talks about exactly everything that I just talked about. And I think you should watch the video and listen to what he's found, okay? Because it comes from a non-biased place. I've seen him call people out on both sides of this, right? That's the mark of someone who's being transparent and who is not succumbing to the factions or the pressure of taking a side. So my hat's off. I don't have a hat, but if I had a hat, I would take it off to ASOBs. Yeah, like I said, give him a sub and listen to some of his stuff. I am going to make an effort. I've been talking to him through DM. But, I don't know what he does with his day. He's been busy. But I'm going to try to reach out to him. I would love... I've seen him do collabs with somebody else, with another influencer, and I don't know if they've got some kind of team thing going on where they do videos or whatever. And, if so, that's cool, right? But I wonder if he would come on and do a live chat with me. Because beyond all this, I want to talk about where maybe we should go. How do we get away from all this? How do we make it so that LUNC is just not vulnerable to being taken down by these guys who are more consumed with their own egos and being the top dog? How do we get away from that? How do we protect ourselves? I've got some ideas about it. I would love to hear his ideas about it. So I'm going to make that effort. I don't know if it's going to happen, but if it does, I'll let you know. All right. If you could, hit the like button for me. Hit the subscribe button. Please leave comments in the comment section. Let's talk about this. I love hearing your opinions, whether you agree with me, don't agree with me. Are you subscribed to ASOBs? Did you know who he was? Are you not subscribed? Whatever it is that you want to talk about, we'll talk about in the comment section. All right, guys. I will see you in the next one. Ciao.